Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Today is Monday, December 30th. Hope you had a wonderful weekend, and we're back at it here. Want to talk a little Pirates briefly. Josh Bell signed a contract. Want to just mention the implications that I think that has for the Pirates, as well as the Steelers getting back into it a semi-normal week as they prepare to conclude the regular season, at least with the game against the Bengals. As of this recording, we don't know when that will be, but going to talk a little bit about that as well as a possible playoff opponent and where I see the Steelers sitting. But the lead topic today is going to be Penguins, actually back-to-back against the Islanders this weekend. Have some thoughts about a column I wrote on Kyle Dubas and the situation the Penguins are in. Congratulations to Sidney Crosby, of course, passes Mario Lemieux for the career assists mark in Penguins history. A lot to get into, but first, want to remind you this show is brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with the insurance companies, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. All right, so let's dive into the Penguins talk here. I was alert covering, whatever you want to say, from a TV screen here as they played on Long Island. And the first period was okay, 1-1 after one, but the beginning of the second period was just a disaster. 3 goals in 4 minutes. And it prompted a thought that I've had about the Penguins, and not to bury the lead. They responded nicely on Sunday, beat the Islanders 3-2 at PPG Paints Arena. The power play has been very good. I'll talk about that. But one of the things with the Penguins that sort of sticks out in my mind is that they're showing some good signs. There are certainly intriguing storylines here. Philip Tomasino stands out. He had another goal. He's been really, really good since the Penguins acquired him from Nashville. Kudos to Kyle Dubas for that move. Rickard Rakell has been fantastic. He's really good against the Islanders on Saturday. Sidney Crosby, a great milestone that continues to happen for him. No issues there. Mentioned the power play. Get this, some of the numbers behind the power play, and credit to David Quinn for what he's been able to do with that group. They're simply astounding. The Penguins right now are 5th in the NHL in power play percentage at 25.9. After 30 games last season, the Penguins were 26th at 14.6. Credit to Bob Grove, Penguins historian, for that one, but absolutely astounding and a huge part of the Penguins' success. Again, this traces back to Thanksgiving Eve against the Canucks, actually a game I covered in person, but that's what has driven the Penguins winning games again, their special team success. Now, I say that to say, how much do we believe in this current run? How much do we believe in what we've seen since Thanksgiving Eve? Is that going to hold over the balance of 82 games? And I just don't know if it is. And at some point, Kyle Dubas is going to be forced to look in the mirror and say, is this year worth going for? Is Rickard Rakell worth holding on to? There are going to be teams calling for him. Scoring winger at a reasonable rate, 17 goals at the trade deadline. What's he going to have? 25? Itching nearly 30? Something like that. I don't know. Marcus Pettersson has a lower body injury. He'll be back soon. Tristan Jarry's gotten a run of games in. Do you move Jarry? Can you move Jarry? I don't know. These are a lot of questions that we on this side don't necessarily have the answers to. Erik Karlsson has been better. But do you look at this team and say they have enough to make a run? They have enough that they're worth committing to, and we're not going to make other moves. Now, that doesn't mean tear everything down. That doesn't mean, get a bunch of draft picks in 2027 and we just don't care. No, they care. They need to care. But what they need to do is fix this roster so it's younger, deeper, faster. If you say, okay, we're going to kind of take it on the chin in 2024, 2025, but 2025 and 2026, we're going to be a lot better. We're going to be a lot better because we can get, more strength down the middle, speed on the wings, more depth on defense. And you do that by making some tough decisions now. And I feel like the Grinch. I feel like I'm talking about this stuff and you're throwing water all over the Penguins, good vibes and stuff that they've done. I think it's 10-4-1 over their past 15, something like that. I just look at some of how that success has been derived, and I'm worried it's fickle. I'm worried it's not sustainable. Here's another stat. The Penguins, during that span over the last 15 games, they have 15 power play goals, and they've allowed just 3 on the penalty kill. Do we expect that level, like plus 12 in special teams, do we expect that to continue over the balance of a season? And I don't really think that's going to happen. And I think they're probably chasing something that's not there if the Penguins continue to do that. But again, that being said, there have been some really cool stories. Michael Bunting's another one, had a power play goal. He has 7 power play goals since November 15th. How about that? Leads the team. He's been really, really good. Bunting had a terrible start, had 1 assist in his first 12 games. He's bounced back. Sid's been outstanding. Really cool moment for him, by the way, at PPG. And the Penguins have done what's necessary to win games. If I'm Kyle Dubas, I do not move off my marks. It's going to be a tough decision at some point, but I still think it's better if they're going to prioritize doing anything whatsoever in 2025 and beyond. And honestly, the last couple years of Sid, Gino, Letang, even Karlsson, trying to get this to a better place. All right, that's my talk on that. We'll get into some Steelers stuff and the Pirates briefly on the other side of a message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
Welcome back to First 10. We're here middle of the morning, about 10 minutes, talking all things Pittsburgh sports. And let's switch gears to the Steelers, and not necessarily the Steelers playing in Ireland in 2025, although that's really cool. That's what the Post-Gazette's Jerry Dulac is reporting. Love that. Looking forward to it already. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the matchup with the Texans, which looks like the most likely scenario for the Steelers. And again, it's not set. I mean, if the Steelers win and the Ravens lose, they can still win the North, and there's some scenarios there. But the most likely scenario for the Steelers in the first round of the playoffs, going on the road and playing the Houston Texans. Is that a bad thing? I don't think it is. I think it might be the best possible outcome for the Steelers. The Texans are not very good. This honestly might be a way to erase the sting of some of what we've seen out of the Steelers, and it's a little bit ironic. We're talking about firing Mike Tomlin. Is he the right person for the job? Should they blow it up? And all these other, very, irrational, I guess is the right word to say it. But I mean, there's some extreme takes out there. What happens if the Steelers go on the road and actually win a playoff game? That's entirely possible. Look at some of what the Texans have done this season. They started 6-2. They've lost 5 of 8 since then. What else? The last 5 weeks, the Texans are getting outscored by an average of 24-18. They're averaging just 257.8 yards per game. They're currently 9-7, have a -9 point differential. They haven't really been able to run the ball. They got crushed by Baltimore on Christmas Day. They ran for just 58 yards. CJ Stroud, it's gone backwards, right? Took 5 sacks in that game, 185 passing yards and interception. Their top 2 receivers, Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, they're both hurt. Again, this is a winnable game. This is a very winnable game for the Steelers, and I just think it's funny that after all this fuss, I'm not saying it's unwarranted, but you're playing 3 really good teams, and the Steelers got their heads bashed in. We understand that. They made some poor decisions, and there was a bunch wrong with those 3 games. But they can still beat the Bengals on Saturday or Sunday and then go on the road and beat the Texans. I'm saying nothing more other than that would end the playoff drought. I'm certainly not saying that the roster is perfect because it's not, but it's an interesting thing to think about. The way it lines up, and as bad as the Texans have played, I really like the Steelers' chances. All right, final one. Josh Bell signs 1 year, $6 million in Washington. And you know what struck me as soon as I saw this come across? That's somebody the Pirates could have had. Now, I don't love it. I wish they would have gone in another direction. It's not directly advocating for Josh Bell to play first base for the Pirates, but it's that type of deal that you would think the Pirates probably turned down. If Josh Bell was willing to sign for 1 year and $6 million for the Washington Nationals, I would imagine he was willing to sign for 1 year in the $6 million range for the Pirates, right? He doesn't have any bad blood here. They're competitively not all that different. Like, it's one thing if you look at the Pirates in first base and say, why can't they sign Christian Walker? Well, because Christian Walker wants to play somewhere else. Why would Christian Walker want to come here when he has the other options available? Even somebody like Paul Goldschmidt, you can kind of write your ticket. There's been a lot of activity on the first base market. Now, the Pirates obviously haven't done anything. They traded for Spencer Horwitz. We've been through that. But you know what that tells me? There's a lot riding on this Horwitz trade working out. Not only because of the pitchers they gave up, but because of the people they didn't sign. But because of all of the other signings happening around baseball and kind of what we would think they turned down. You could look at this and say, Josh Bell's an option, but would rather have Spencer Horwitz. It's not great. I mean, the move has not gone over very well for various reasons. You can look at Spencer Horwitz and actually make a case that he's a halfway decent acquisition. And I think I did on here at one point. If you look at numbers, OPS plus, WRC plus, some more advanced stuff, there's a case for it. But I think the stakes are pretty high surrounding this one. And that kind of hit home with the Josh Bell signing. Anyway, that does it for me. I'll be back here same time, same place tomorrow. Going to talk a little college football tomorrow. Have some thoughts on Penn State, James Franklin, Pat Narduzzi, etc. We'll get into all of that. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Get all of this content and so much more from our Post-Gazette, North Shore Drive podcast and YouTube team and channels. Talk to you tomorrow on First 10, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.